Esta exposición presenta los resultados de la investigación sobre el origen y el desarrollo del arquetipo espacial de una casa tripartita con hall intermedio en Inglaterra y Bogotá en diferentes épocas. Tres grandes apartados estructuraron la exposición: genealogía sobre la casa en Inglaterra entre los siglos XIV y XIX, variaciones sobre la casa bogotana de estilo inglés entre 1930 y 1950, e interpretaciones sobre la casa bogotana moderna entre 1945 y 1965. En los tres apartados anteriores se desarrollaron paneles de la exposición donde se enfatiza un análisis gráfico comparativo y representaciones de las casas siguiendo el hall intermedio como una noción transversal. Neil, por favor, comenta sobre la museografía de la exposición.
Well, thank you, and thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this rather exciting project. It is, for one such as myself, sitting in a very small cottage in the middle of the Scottish Highlands and talking to you in Bogota, an extraordinary experience. And well, I just hope the technology holds up. The exhibition, from what I have seen of it, and I have not been there, of course, I've seen it online, I think looks extraordinarily interesting. And I'm slightly intrigued that the space in which it is shown, the Leopoldo Rotha Museum of Architecture, is surely a development of this hall house or middle hall idea, double height spaces with rooms running off to the side. Maybe that's coincidental, maybe I'm reading more into it than there really is, but nevertheless, it's an appropriate venue, I think, for an exhibition such as this. In your catalogue, your book, you write that the middle hall is an archetypal formal structure which has developed throughout history in different architectural traditions. And it seems to me that that is absolutely true. And I think I think this sort of the English Tudor version of it, which in a sense is the center of this discussion, is really just one part of a much broader architectural response, one which is dependent upon climate and upon materials and all those things that generate architecture. 2 days ago, John made the very good observation that all the middle halls that seem to exist from an early time in Britain are now masonry buildings, and all the timber ones, which probably predated them, have all disappeared. So one might look at the middle hall as the product of a framed architecture as opposed to a load-bearing masonry type of architecture. And in a funny way, that is actually what we're dealing with now in the 21st century. Most of our architecture, particularly large buildings or large spaces, are framed and not load-bearing masonry. So in a sense, the notion of the middle hall structure has possibly come round. Where I'm most familiar with it, the middle hall, is in the English house, or English and Scottish houses, I should say, built in the 19th and early 20th century. And I've done quite a lot of work on the Scottish country house, which used the middle hall as a central feature within that type. So I hope that I might be able to respond to some extent on those, in those terms. It's intriguing to me that the middle hall, or maybe the Tudor revival style, became popular in Bogota in the 1930s through to the 1960s, due, as you say, to the dissemination of publications, mostly English. And I don't doubt this for a minute, but I wonder what other influences there were at the time. The one that comes to my mind is the influence of Hollywood and American architecture, the architecture of Southern California, of Los Angeles, of the 1920s and 1930s. There are a great number of Tudor-style houses there built for film stars and other celebrities. And I just wondered to what extent architects in Colombia and Bogota were looking towards California, which is a bit nearer than England, in their response to that sort of architectural style. So maybe that's something one might think about. You say, again, and I'm quoting from your catalogue, you say, among the elite were the national or emigrated architects trained within the so-called modern architecture. In their professional practice, they had a particular interest in the role of the hall in the spatial structure of the house and carried out an interpretation of its main values in the new expansion of neighborhoods of the city. So I'm sort of interested in finding out who these emigrated architects are in particular. In your exhibition, panels 11, 12 and 13, on which I hope I'll be able to comment later, show houses all designed by the firm of Trujillo Gomez and Martinez Cardenas. And they don't sound to me very much like immigrants. They sound national Colombians. So where did they get the ideas? Did they travel? Did they study abroad? Or did they just read the books and read the journals? And you talk about here architects trained within the so-called modern architecture. Well, I can say with, I suppose, a degree of assurance that there weren't many architects coming out of England at that time, or indeed Scotland, who were trained within the modern architecture. We hadn't actually caught up until really in the post-war years, when architectural education in the United Kingdom did start to change. So I wonder who these people were. The exhibition covers a huge amount of material and is beautifully arranged and beautifully illustrated. I was very taken with the models, particularly the perspex ones, the ones that provide the see-through walls, and also with the video presentations. And again, I'll comment on those perhaps a bit later.